What's up, everybody? My name is Hayden. I'm a local real estate agent in the Spokane, Washington area and bringing you the best information on buying, selling, and investing in real estate in the Spokane, Washington market. And today we're talking about 3 reasons why 2021 might be the time to do a 1031 exchange on your investment properties. A 1031 exchange is a tax deferment strategy in the real estate world that allows you to sell one investment property and then roll 100% of those profits into another investment property of equal or greater value. Traditionally, if you had just sold that investment property and then taken out your profits, you're going to lose money on paying capital gains tax, and so you're going to have less money to play with if you decide to go buy something down the road. Using the 1031 exchange allows you to use 100% of your profits to help you purchase another property and avoid those taxes or keep kicking those taxes down the road. This video is just going to be a base idea of what a 1031 exchange is, and there's just 2 things I want you to really grab onto in this just high level view. The first one being the timeline. The timeline looks like this. There's a 180-day window total to make these transactions happen, and so the first thing you're going to do at day 0, you're identifying and then selling the investment properties that you currently own. And so day 0 starts when those properties have sold. And then you have a 45-day window at the beginning to identify and tell the IRS that you have identified up to 3 properties that could work as an exchange on your current property. And then we have a full 180-day window, we're subtracting now that 45 days that you've taken to identify the property. So we have that 135 days left over to actually close on those new properties. So 45-day window, 135-day window, total of 180 days. This process needs to start a couple steps before that. When you're first thinking of making this happen, you need to start looking at buying the properties first, doing your due diligence, identifying where you're going to be buying, what you're going to be buying, so that by the time you've sold your properties and your timeline is starting, you're not in a huge rush and panic to find these properties. So start way back here, identifying what you would like to purchase and move up into. Then you're selling the properties that you currently have, getting those on the market, getting them under contract, getting them sold, and now, boom, our timeline has started for that 180 days total. So why is 2021 the time to do a 1031 exchange here in Spokane? Reason number 1 is just the appreciation in your home. That investment property that you bought even just a few years ago is worth significantly more now than it has ever been worth before. We're up 30% year over year, and in the way the spring market is going, we're nearly up 10% month over month at this point. And so the value that you have in that investment property is greater than it has ever been. And the market is planning on going up. And so maybe even if 2021 isn't the date to do it, then 2022, 2023, maybe you're planning ahead now to make that exchange happen, because things are on the rise, and then we want to beat it before there's a plateau and things start to slow down, because now is when you're going to get the best terms as well. The big concern, whether you're an investor or a retail buyer, is being a buyer in this crazy market. And so if you are a investor, well, hooking up with somebody that works at a team like mine, where we have dozens and dozens of off-market properties at Northwest Invest, then we can hook you up with an off-market deal that might work for you, because we are purchasing apartment buildings all the way down to single-family homes. And so there's probably something in our pipeline that could work for you. Or now might be the time, if you're local to Spokane or you're out of state investing in Spokane, now might be the time to just shift your money to a different market. That makes more sense. Maybe that we want to find you something huge in the Midwest, or something that's a cash flow cow and can make you a ton of money. But just depends on your situation, what you're looking for out of your investments. But us at Northwest Invest, we can help you out no matter where you're looking, because we have deals locked up in many states across the country. So the second reason why 2021 might be the time to do a 1031 exchange is Biden's proposed tax plan. And so we're not trying to make this political, but these are just the things that are on the chopping block right now. And so Biden's new tax bill is proposing that we potentially get rid of the 1031 exchange, and coming at real estate investors with a couple different possibly negative outcomes on what we've been used to on 1031 exchange and how people have built their real estate portfolios in the past. And so On an annual basis, 1031 exchanges account for about $2 to $4 billion of tax revenue that's getting deferred down the road. And so Biden might be seeing that as an advantage or something that he can use to pay for other programs that he's proposing, because he wants to use that $2 to $4 billion in another way rather than kicking it down the road and for somebody else's ideas and stuff like that, because that money doesn't come due or will never come due at some point, because if people are doing 1031 exchanges correctly. The other thing that he's proposing is that for high income earners, currently they pay about 23.8% on their investment income, and he's looking at doubling that. And so if he ends up getting rid of the 1031 exchange and then you're having to pay capital gains tax, you could actually be paying double the amount of tax that you originally would have been paying, because that's going to be getting increased up into the 40s and 50% range. I'll make another video on basically how this hurts just the average real estate investor that only owns a few properties, or the person that's just getting started. But this could be really bad because those big time investors that are generally apply or in the apartment industry or something like that, they could be turning around and coming back into the single family world, because he actually is putting a cap on this of profits up to $500,000, which is pretty normal in that commercial space on flipping larger buildings or apartment buildings that people are making above $500,000. And so if he's creating that cap, then these larger investors are actually just going to potentially come back down into the small multifamily and single family homes and just buy large portfolios of them at a time, under different LLCs and stuff like that, so that they're doing many projects, but they're going to be the ones that are ending up buying these properties because they have the upper hand and the more cash. And then this way they can handle just as much real estate as they were prior, but they are doing it in smaller chunks, and they're staying under those $500,000 gains, and then basically playing the system and not having to pay those taxes above the $500,000. So we'll get deeper into some of those things in another video, but it's not just bad for the high income earners. That effect on the high income earners is going to come back down to the small time investors as well. The third reason on why this might be the year to do it is that the moratorium is supposedly coming due June 30th. And the reason I say supposedly is because that it was supposed to be abolished like 3 different times now, and then it's just kept getting extended. So if you've gotten stuck with tenants that are not paying or abusing the system, then by the time June 30th comes out around, then you should have an easier time getting them out, and then being able to sell your property for top dollar once the tenants are out, because when tenants are in there, the properties just don't sell for as much. But there are ways around it. If you haven't looked into it, we can definitely get you set up with a lawyer that if you intend to sell the properties, we can submit the 60-day notice and work on getting those tenants out of there. We just have to have a lawyer that has been successful at it, because some lawyers have been attempting to do it and still getting stuck with getting tenants out of the properties. So if June 30th comes around and maybe even your properties are in forbearance because you haven't been able to pay because they're not paying, if those things are starting to just catch up, or we're able to get those tenants out, then now might be the time to get them out, list those properties, and then go find another investment. I think there is going to be a big switch from residential landlords that end up deciding to go buy some other type of real estate investment that maybe is less maintenance and maybe slightly less risk. So maybe we have a bunch of people selling off single family homes to go buy manufactured home parks where they're just in charge of the land and people bring in their own parks. They're going to go buy storage units, any of these types of things, so that they don't have to deal with tenants. Or they ultimately, I see a lot of landlords, and it's happening right now, ending up cashing out their properties here in Washington and then moving to a more landlord-friendly state so that they can still have tenants and they can have the benefits of owning single-family homes, the appreciation and all that kind of stuff, but they just want to do it somewhere where they know that they can get somebody out of the house in the event that they need to. So if you are somebody that is thinking about a possible 1031 exchange, has been on the fence about it, connect with me. Let's talk. I do work with Northwest Invest, an investment firm here in Spokane, Washington, that does a ton of off-market deals. We can help you tie up a buyer easily. We can help you find the next property off market, and whether that is here in Spokane or it is anywhere across the country, we'll get you set up. I also have partners with great lawyers and great 1031 custodians that manage the entire 1031 transaction as a whole. So if you would like any of that information, I would love to have a conversation with you and see what we can do to help you out. Again, my name is Haydn. I'm a local real estate agent in Spokane, Washington. Thanks so much for your time, and I look forward to talking to you soon.